Welcome to the Obsessed With podcast. We are your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We've been together since 2007, and we are the co-founders of TravseSexed.
And we've also been full-time travelers since 2012.
That's right, crazy.
Which is insane. Join us here as we pull back the curtain with fun, juicy, and honest conversations. We're gonna dive into all the things that you might be navigating too, like figuring out how to add more travel and adventure into your life, which PS, this is our specialty, navigating big transitions, relationships and marriage, deciding whether or not kids fit into the picture in your 40s, and most importantly, how to create a life of freedom on your own terms.
Consider this podcast your official permission slip to unapologetically do life your way and be able to change your mind a million times along the way and know that you are not alone.
Our goal with this podcast is to create a fun, zero judgment, happy hour style space where we can all just hang out, have real conversations, and navigate all the life things together.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let the obsession begin.
Woo!
Welcome back to the Obsessed With podcast. Back on the mic, Kim is making some weird faces at me.
Getting myself amped.
Oh, getting amped?
Yeah.
What
Like
was
pump up moves.
Oh, that was very sinusy, the way you just came in there.
Well, I do feel a little sinusy today.
Really?
Yeah, I feel super, ever since our 14er that we hiked
What?
Friday. Woo, our second one, baby. I've been feeling like congested.
Okay.
See? You hear it?
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to do another sexy voice podcast.
I mean, I feel like my voice is always pretty sexy.
Okay. All right. Well,
let's do a quick recap since I had my first week of work.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into something that we started implementing in our relationship, but also I think it's just, you can do it on your own. You don't have to do it in a relationship, but this is our second week that we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get into kind of like what we started doing, why we started doing it, and kind of our process. And I feel like it's been super helpful.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that too.
Yeah. I actually look forward to it every week.
Do you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's cool.
I was wondering so today we're recording this on a Sunday. So we do every Sunday we're doing this, and we just came back inside we sat outside, we went over all the things together, and I was actually wondering, I wonder if he's going to bring it up to do it. Because I did. I was like, let's go sit outside and do our thing. But I was wondering if you were going to bring it up or if you were going to be like, eh.
No, yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it.
Okay.
Well, you just roll.
Okay, so, gosh, I had...
The stenographer.
Superstat stenographer.
Yeah.
That was like an old school little video series. Do you remember that?
We were just talking about that at work.
I'm a superstat stenographer.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Was that on YouTube? I don't remember what it was.
It was some of the first like animated videos that went viral.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole like bone is broken. I need to fix. And like patient is an wait, with it. The way they said it, it's just such a pun at hospitals, but so funny.
Yeah, freaking hilarious. Super stat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went back into the hospital. So Monday was my first day. And so last week was it was like Monday and Tuesday were orientations basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday and Thursday, I actually worked inside of the department. And so Monday and Tuesday, and it's funny because we would always talk about this, like as a traveler, you don't do that many orientations. I'm trying to think of, in 13 years, I think an actual hospital orientation, I think I've had to do like one or two maybe.
Yeah.
But it's not typical.
No. Yeah, I don't think I've done maybe one or two.
Okay, so yeah, it's not normal. But we would laugh because when you had to do orientation here, you did have to do orientation here as a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I love orientation because it's kind of like a free day. Like you don't have to go like bust your ass in the department, and you can sit and have a coffee and have water and have snacks and just listen to blah, blah, blah. Like I love orientation. It's like my favorite days. And you're like, no, it's like my least favorite
I would rather
thing.
be in the department.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, whatever. So Monday was my orientation and I was like, oh my God. It was just, it's been so long since I've had to do that. And it was just like, I don't know, just 8 hours of nonstop just talking at you. And like they try to make it interactive, which is so cheesy. Unfortunately, we were running low on time. So we did have to skip through a lot of the interactive parts, which I was so sad about. But they're trying to bring you in. They're trying to get you to participate. I understand the thought behind it, but it was just so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is miserable. I mean, 8 hours. And it made me think of like kids in school and stuff of just sitting there listening for that long. Oh my God. Like my brain hurts so bad leaving, So I have a new take on orientation.
My thing is just like, it's more power for me to stay awake.
Yeah.
Like just sitting there staring and like, honestly, even as a traveler, and I mean, I think even as a full timer, are you really like pumped like to listen to all that? Like, like I think it's be a very small percentage. Like I would rather like, what do I need? Like what benefits me? Like, do I need to learn that I know? And then like, let's get into it, dude. Like I'm here to work. Like, let's go.
Well, right. And it's like, they were just going on and on about why this is such a great place to work and how they give back to the community and how they have like said so much money. And like, they really made that an effort to talk about how financially strong the company is. And I think their take on it was that you're working for a very financially stable company. So like, you don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Like, we didn't lay people off during COVID and kind of making you feel more safe, I guess, in that. I don't know. But there was a lot of that and just their messaging and their core values. And I get like they're creating a culture within their hospital, but it's also just like blah, 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 blah. Like they just talked so much about themselves for 8 hours. And it's like, bro, I don't give a fuck, Like, how do you support your employees? Like, how are you paying them? Do they get time off? Like, that's what people truly care about. Like healthcare workers, yeah, like you care, like the core values and Advent's all about, like what was it?
Mission.
Something through Christ.
Through Christ, yeah.
So it's very religious based. And that's fine. But it was a lot about like that kind of stuff, which and they're very big on customer meaning like patient and how you treat them and always going out of your way to make sure that you're showing up on their worst day. And I really do appreciate that because I do think that's true. But like that's all fine and dandy in a orientation room. But what we care about is, and you're going to have more incentive to show up and bring your A game if you're getting paid well, if you have time off, if you have breaks, if you're not understaffed. Like that's the stuff we care about,
They need to read the hero's journey.
Yeah.
They need to bring him in for branding. Because, I mean, if you could turn that for like the hero's journey and put it through the healthcare worker's mind, right? Not the patient's mind, because we're caring people. That's just what we do, right? Like we know what we're getting into, majority of us. So I think if you turned it into like what you said, like a perspective through the healthcare worker here under Advent, like I think it would change the game for like, you'd go in pumped, right? Because you could see like you're the hero of the journey, right? Within Advent, like each employee and how they bring towards their patients. And like, that could be a really cool way to spin it. Instead of just look at us, look at us, look at us.
Yeah. It was very look at us, but how it like serves you, but not really. I don't know. Yeah. It was just like, they were kind of focusing on the wrong stuff where they did talk a lot too about, really taking care of yourself first, because healthcare workers are some of the least healthy people in the world, which we were talking about this years ago. Remember? Like years ago, we were like, we should go into hospitals and
2015, 10 years ago.
Go talk to people, healthcare workers about this. Cause that's when we were like really into our health journey and we really turned our own health around. And we were, personal trainers, and we were really inspired by, our own experience of completely turning around our own life. And like hospital workers are, overworked, stressed out. They eat like garbage. A lot of them, like, they don't sleep well. Like you're always pouring into your patients and like we work in a very stressful environment, and so you have to take care of yourself first in order to really show up and be an asset to your team and also for your patients. And so they did talk a lot about that, which I thought was really helpful, because yes, that's so true, right? But also taking care of yourself has to do with making sure you have time off and that you aren't always understaffed. So you're working your ass off and, you are able to put food on the table and be paid well, like, right? Like that's all really, really important stuff. I will say Advent does pay well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say that, like, the pay as well. I think their full-time employees get close to 5 weeks off of PTO. So, I mean, that's pretty great.
No,
so from
they have a
that
good
standpoint,
system. Yeah.
that does seem like they're taking care of their people.
How was your work week? Like when you got in the hospital?
So then, so Wednesday was my first day, and I was nervous, obviously, right? Because I hadn't worked in the hospital in so many years like that. And it was funny because it was just me and this other girl. Okay. So they staffed just 2 sonographers a day. That's it. And that's not very much. They have outpatients and they have ERs and inpatients, which, as we know, you just never know what the ER is going to do. Right. And so she was training, again, my first day. So she's training me, but also trying to run a department and has no other help. So I really had to just jump in and work as a sonographer. Like I wasn't like quote unquote training, like I was working.
Mm-hmm.
And she was great. I mean, she showed me, all the stuff, the computer system, the flow, basically like she was there. Like I was able to ask questions and that, but I just kind of jumped in and got started, which for me, I think is better because I feel more comfortable just rolling up my sleeves and getting in there and finding my way than following somebody around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like off doing portables. I remember I saw you in the hallway. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm off doing, because
I walked you up to ICU.
Yeah, they do. That's the one like lame thing is that we don't use transporters. So any inpatient in any ER is done portable, which sucks because it's a lot on your body, and having to always go portable for everything is just like, it's a lot. I haven't worked at a place that does it that way. But anyway, so I was just taking the machine, going around doing all these portables, scanning, computer systems, Epic. So like I was already pretty comfortable with that. And like there was nuances that I had to learn with how they write up their stuff or whatever. But I think, I got, after my first patient, again, with scanning, I felt comfortable pretty quickly.
That's always good. I knew that was going to happen.
It always does, because it is. It's like once you get going and like learning the machine, it was the new GE, so I was like learning that. I mean, once you kind of get in there, it's like I definitely start to feel more comfortable with each scan that I do. So yeah, all in all, it's a good experience. Oh, and then I wanted to say, because I talked about this on our Instagram story, but I really feel like traveling just sets you up for success. Like being able to jump into different environments, jump in that mentality of like, okay, I'm not being fully trained properly, but like I can jump in, I can figure things out, I can be adaptable. Like this is new to me, but I'm used to working in environments that feel new to me and having to like, figure it out as you go. And I really think that traveling prepares you so much for that, where you're very adaptable and able to jump into situations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you realize too, the more facilities, like somebody was talking to me, one of the docs, he was like, how many facilities have you been to? And I was like 28 to 30 something different facilities in my career. He was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. I was like, and you realize like, but as you do it at the beginning, it feels like so overwhelming. But as you get more facilities under your belt, you're just kind of like, There are a lot of similarities, and I think to the core, you realize what it takes to be helpful, right? Like if I don't know Epic or that, I can scrub cases. You know, like I can just jump in and be like, dude, just show me where your trays are. Okay, cool. Like I started to realize like majority of IR departments are set up roughly the same when it comes down to like how they categorize their supplies and things like that. I just got to go little nuances, but I realized what used to take me forever to figure out where the little things are, like I kind of just know now. It's like I have a beacon for it, you know, like it just kind of comes in. So I can let somebody do paperwork and I'll scrub cases all day long and be helpful, right? And then you slowly learn that stuff. And it's like, I think you realize like, yeah, I don't need to know all the nuances, but I know enough that I could jump in and be very helpful day one, right? I might not be the best, but I'm going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like a really cool thing that we learn as travelers.
Yeah. No, I agree. Especially when you feel comfortable in your skills. I think that's a big thing too, because you can walk into many new environments and like you said, show me where your trays are, like point me in the right direction, because you feel really confident in your skills that you can navigate a new environment. And again, as travel, like that's commonly how it is. Like you're always kind of nervous to go in on your first day, but you're not really questioning your skills. You're just going into a new environment where for me, it was very much like a new environment, but also I didn't feel sound in my skills as a stenographer because it had been a long time. Like I wasn't just in the flow with scanning of like, cool, this is going to be new, but like I'm good. Like I feel solid. So I think that's why I was more nervous, but now so today's Sunday, tomorrow I'm working Monday and Tuesday. I'm working with another girl. So I don't know her, but I already feel so much better going in tomorrow with my skills. I feel confident scanning again. And I know the flow, the system. Obviously, there's always things that pop up that then you have a question because you didn't encounter it before. But yeah, I feel like cool. Like tomorrow, like this time last week, I was so nervous. And this time this week, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I got this and I'm working by myself on Sunday and I'll be ready for it, you know?
I'm on call Sunday, so that'll be.
That's also a fun part too, is working together, even though we
never see each other.
Yeah, like we are really, we're right around the corner from each other. I don't know why we never see each other because I'm always out running around with the machine.
I'm always in my room.
Yeah. So we don't really get to see each other, but there's something fun knowing that you're there.
Yeah. Sarah, our manager asked, she was like, is it so cool like having Kim here? And I was like, like I don't know. I don't see her. Like it actually is kind of weird in a way because it's like, I used to just like, oh, there's downtime. I'm going to go to lunch. But now I'm like, hey, are you available?
Yeah.
Like, oh, so then I'm like negotiating with my coworkers, like, oh, you go ahead and go because I'm going to wait like a little bit of time. And then like, I'm going to go to lunch with Kim and like, you know, so it is different having you there. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's because I don't see you. Yeah,
we don't really see each other very often. But like, I saw you in the hallway the other day, and then we had lunch together on Thursday.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's like kind of a fun thing to look forward to throughout the day of like, because usually you're at work or you come home, and then we're like catching up on like the day, but we have this like moment during the day to be like, how's your day going? How's your day going? Kind of talking about it. I will say though, the 30-minute lunches, like fuck that. Like I set my timer for 28 minutes because it gives me a 2-minute window to like get back to the department. And it's like, I feel like by the time I get down there, I warm up my food, I sit down. It's like, I have 10 minutes left. It's such bullshit.
Well, why do you think I always say like, I don't want anything that I have to heat up.
Yeah.
Like I want almost like a military lunch, like something I could eat on the go, because then I get to enjoy more time to sit instead of like waiting for my food to heat up and then sitting down. And then like, I'm just like, since I eat food cold, I just sit down and go. And then I have like usually 10 minutes to just sit with nothing, which is nice.
I feel like that's a way that admin could improve the quality of work, because if you pay people for an hour lunch, but like, or you lose 30 minutes or whatever, but you get an hour, which I've done that at Stanford. I did that in Seattle. Like that's how they did it, where because you got your breaks, but they included, because you got 2 15-minute breaks a day, but they included that and gave you an hour lunch.
That's actually the same law in
Colorado.
Colorado.
You get two 10-minute breaks.
2 15s.
Mine says 10.
Oh.
Because it asks you when
Which
you clock out, like, do you get your 10 minutes? I do. So I feel like it should be combined, because just having that, like, I'm like rushing through my lunch. I'm chugging my Celsius. I'm like, like to run back. Like if I had, 20 extra minutes to just sit there or go for a walk outside, like it revitalizes you to like enter into your second half of the day. I really think that makes a huge difference for people. Like you get a little bit of a downtime to just breathe and like recoup, and then like hit the ground running again into your second half.
I agree.
Makes a big difference.
I agree. 100%. Is there anything you want to share? Because I wanted to get into our 14er real quick before.
Okay, no, done. Check. First week done. Check.
Nice. This week will be cool because you're kind of just in the department. You're in your flow. It is different with our schedule. We're figuring that out, which is nice for leeway. Because I'm not so jam packed in the morning, so it's nice to be able to, because we have one car, so we've been trying to figure out gym.
That's the other thing.
Getting to work.
Well, because
we'll kind of talk about that a little bit, right?
Why are we talking about a little bit? Talking about right now, just real quick. With the change of the schedule, because I'm going into work at 8, and so our morning, we have such a morning routine. Like we are so like down to the minute. Mm-hmm. And when I wasn't in the hospital, the routine was we went to the F45 class at 6:15 every morning. And so luckily it's right across the street, which is so convenient. So we can leave our house at, 6:05, which is so nice. We leave the gym at 7:03. That's like the max, right? 7:03. We got to be in the car on the way back.
Home by 7:06.
Yep. And then you would get in the shower. I would do, get your breakfast together, your coffee, get everything ready. And then we'd be running out the door, have to leave by 7:20 to get you to work by clocking in by 7:30. Like that, it was like, we had such a system. Now I have to get myself ready. So there's a 5:15 class and a 6:15 class. If we went to the 5:15 class, we would have plenty of time, but we don't want to go to the 5:15 class because that is so freaking early. Like it's only an hour difference, but there's such a difference of like your alarm going off at
4. My
alarm goes off at 4:30, but I get up at 5 to go to the 6:15 class because I like to have coffee before, versus getting up at alarm going off at 3:30, getting up at 4. Mm-hmm. So that is a huge difference. Mm-hmm. It's an hour, but it feels different, like a big difference. So if I have to go to work at 8, what we're trying to do is you go in a little bit later instead of 7:30.
7:45.
Yeah. So that we rush home, jump in the shower. We both get ourselves together quickly. One thing we've been doing is a lot of the overnight oats and overnight chia puddings. So I'm not making shakes. You can just grab and like it's already made for you. So that really cuts down on time.
And if you go in at 7:45, you start at 8, which means you have 15 minutes to eat your breakfast.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like I have to eat breakfast before I go to the department. Because once I hit that department, it's just balls to the wall. It's a busy department. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, that's what we're gonna try Monday and Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
So we did a trial run. We were able to do it, but you are flying.
Yeah.
Like it is very rush.
Well, I also haven't talked to my leadership yet about if that's even okay. I've just been doing it.
Oh, I thought you talked to them.
No, because my lead's been on vacation and I don't want to like call her on vacation to ask her.
So what are you going to do about tomorrow then?
She's not there tomorrow. And so I'll go in, drag in a little bit later.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of figure it out and I'll see where they stay because we might have to start doing the 5:15.
Okay.
Anyway, so cool thing was, I don't know, I was really excited and proud of us. It was 4th of July after Kim's long first week of work, figuring everything out. So Thursday we were done. We both worked 4 straight and then wanted to go on the 4th of July and hike a 14er to get our second one in before we go to Peru. And so we found Mount Bierstadt, which was, they say, the quote unquote easiest of the 14ers. No 14er is easy. But we were like, oh, that's cool. But then we realized that it is so crowded and you can't get parking, and you might have to park like 2 miles down the trail to, like, if you get there later, and you want to be done by noon, right? Because of storms and things like that. And so we made the decision that our alarms will go off at 1:50 in the morning. So Thursday night we get done at 5:30, afternoon, come home, dinner, get ready, and then our alarms went off at 1:50, and we left the house. We're shooting for 2:50. We made it out at 3:10. So 20 minutes off, not too bad.
Yeah.
We pulled up to the parking lot outside of Georgetown, which was like an hour and a half away, at 5 a.m. and the parking lot was already full.
Yep, there wasn't one parking spot left.
But we got the first spot right outside the parking lot, like on the road. So we were still in the parking lot, just a little outside.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And there was cars coming in and coming in and coming in, which was nuts. But it was like a really cool feeling, multiple feelings of, like, I was proud of us for, like, both of us wanting to do something like that, you know, on the 4th of July. But also, like, that's why I love Colorado so much, is that parking lot was full at 5 in the morning on the 4th of July to hike a 14er.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, people were still coming in as we were going down. Like, that's how people were spending their day. And I absolutely love that, because coming from Florida, that's a wake up and start drinking day.
Well, I think,
you know,
I think just the mindset, of people that want to be active. Again, 14ers are not easy at all. Like, so that Bierstadt is considered the easiest because it's the most accessible from Denver, and just the gradual climb and
not a lot of exposure.
The rock scramble and stuff, they consider it easy, but it's not easy. It's hard, right? Like, you're anything at that altitude is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that, again, people are like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to push myself, I'm going to go do this 14er. I'm going to be off this, I'm going to do it at sunrise. I'll be off this mountain by, 10 or 11 and, like, get into my day. I love that kind of mentality, because I feel like we're people who, like, I was talking to the girl I was working with, and then a student, they asked me what I was doing for 4th of July. And I told them, they're like, that's insane. Like, waking up at 2 a.m. Like, no, like, for what, And it's like, there's different perceptions of what you consider to be rewarding and fun. And we were talking about that as, like, we're people who we like to challenge ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of, like, you're doing it and you're like, this is so hard. Or, like, why am I getting up at this time? I'm fucking tired.
Mm-hmm.
But that feeling of, like, we made it to the summit. It was hard. And honestly, the best feeling ever is when you're done, like, coming back to the Jeep, and you're just like, wow, like, that was hard, but we did it. And I feel so good. And that feeling is something that I'm like, you can't explain it.
No, and it was really cool that we went down to Georgetown and had, like, a nice little lunch outside. And we were home in our apartment at 2:10.
Yeah.
And I was like, we've had a full day.
Full day.
Like, and it was still 2:10 in the afternoon. Like, it's 12:17 right now while we're recording this. And it's like 2 hours later, we were home, already hiked a 14er, drove an hour and a half, like, went to lunch. Like, we had I don't know, it was just, like, a really cool feeling to, like, it was so rewarding the rest of that day. And then to know that that was Friday and we still had Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a really cool thing. It was a great hike.
It was a great hike. I mean, it's considered a class 1, class 2. And honestly, like, the rock scrambles at the top, like, Huron was like this, Bierstadt was like this. Like, they say it's a class 1, class 2. So there's not basically it's like 1 through 5. Our 14ers are ranked, and it goes off of, like, the exposure, meaning drop offs, if you, like, the severity of if you were to fall, like, so they rank them on these different levels. And so 1, 2 is, like, chill, right? And for me, it was still very scary. So I can't even imagine, like, higher classes, but I was proud of myself for doing it anyway. Because there were a couple of moments I was like, dude, like I'm done, you know, and you kind of pushed me, but like doing it and be like, okay, like I did it. And I don't know, like I conquered something that I was scared to do, but also knowing like I was safe. I wasn't, unless I like jumped away or something, like you're safe. But like if you're scared of heights, it's a little bit intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it. And so I think like just again, whether it's like doing the hike itself is a challenge, but then you're faced with, you know, something that is fearful to you and you do that, like it just, I don't know, it just builds this confidence. You feel really good. Then you come home and you're like, hell yeah, like let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You know? So that was a really, really fun day. We were taken out though. That was something I'm like really concerned with because we got home and where were we at lunch yet or on our way that we were like, oh, we're feeling so good and we're going to do this and we were going to go watch the fireworks and just like feeling so good. And then all of a sudden crash and burn. And I felt like I was hungover. Like I had drank a bottle of tequila. That feeling of just hung over.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Well, and when we came home, like we ordered Instacart because we were going to stop by the store and we had like no gas to even, not gas in the car, like gas in personal tanks. Like, I don't want to go to the store. I just want to go home. And like we unloaded the car. I came in, I fell asleep for an hour and something and then woke up and felt like the worst hangover in the world. And it was just like, okay, I don't know. I think that was like the sleep. I mean, I went to bed at 9:30, woke up at 1, so 1:50 or whatever. So that's not our normal sleep. We're also tired from the week. And we both like worked out really hard. I mean, we had a very hard workout on Thursday, so we were still both really sore. And I don't, you know, it's just the body kind of was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. It's a little worrisome because it's like.
But I mean, we sleep in Peru. Like we go to bed at 7:30.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Because I mean, again, we've hiked at higher altitudes on all of our trips. And so I was like, I don't remember feeling this taken out even on Everest. Like, but we do like, you know, we're like, oh, we'll get back to camp and we'll like play games or play cards. You literally eat dinner like a zombie and then you like go into your tent and go to bed, which but you go to sleep. Like your body is just like so tired. So I think that's just a part of it. Like it's just normal.
Well, I also think on the Inca Trail too, like you're waking up and having a full breakfast and then you hike and then you stop for a full lunch. I mean, huge amounts of food.
Yeah.
So like your calorie intake is like up. And so I think that was for me was once I got my calories under wraps Friday night, like I felt better. But I think I was just like deprived of calories from burning so much, you know, that your body has to catch up.
Hey, real quick, we hope you're loving today's episode and we wanted to take a moment to keep you in the loop. If you work in healthcare or you're a healthcare traveler or you know someone who works in healthcare and is interested in fun adventure travel, you've got to know about our TravseSexed adventure trips. And listen, we get it. Working in healthcare can feel really demanding, overwhelming, and stressful. We spend so much time taking care of others that we forget to take care of ourselves.
So let us take care of you on a TravseSexed trip. Once you sign up for a trip, we literally take care of everything. The planning, the logistics, and all the little details. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and make unforgettable memories with a group of like-minded, adventurous travel friends. This is your time to step away from the chaos, recharge, have some fun, and come back feeling like the best version of you. Everyone who comes on a TravseSexed trip says you come as strangers, leave as family. Literally. TravseSexed trips have sparked dozens of new friendships, adventure squads, and travel soulmates that last way beyond the trip.
And honestly, it's not about the places we go. It's about the amazing people you meet along the way. We personally plan every itinerary based on our own travel adventures, so we have been there, done that, and know all the best things to do and see that you would not find on your own. Plus, we've got some awesome local friends on the ground to help us make each trip extra fun, special, and totally unique. Our trips are for active adventurers who like to get out of their comfort zones and push their limits. And the best part? We keep our groups small and intimate so you can form real connections like really, really fast.
So if you're ready to ditch the planning stress, find your adventure crew, and travel like never before, head over to imtravsessed.com and grab your spot on one of our next adventures.
That's imtravsessed.com.
Or you can send us a DM over on Instagram at Kim and Aaron G.
That is KIMANDERRANG.
Just DM us the word adventure and we can chat more about it. You can also find our Instagram, our website. Everything is linked in the show notes below. Also, at the time of this recording, we have 3 spots left to join us in Oaxaca, Mexico in 2025, which honestly is one of our favorite trips. Yeah. So you can head over to our website, check that out. And we also have so many more fun adventures coming your way in 2026.
We cannot wait to see you on one of our life-changing trips. Now let's dive back into the episode.
I guess I feel like I ate plenty of food, so
Okay.
I ate so much food.
Okay.
So anyway.
Right. Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so we started this new thing and we go through kind of a checklist on Sunday. So this is our second Sunday doing it. So this is new. But we were feeling like the last, what would you say? Like maybe month or two.
Since we got home.
Yeah, we've just felt like there's been communication breakdowns. Like we have not been hearing each other, understanding each other. There's been like arguments about things, like just kind of felt, how would you describe it?
There was arguments about little tiny things that didn't matter that had deeper roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like it was like things were blowing up a lot faster than they normally would for items and things that really weren't that big of a deal on the surface, but the undertones were bigger.
Yeah.
And we started picking that up a lot more.
Yeah. And I think just, communication in general was just not the best. And so we were like, okay, like this was a couple of weeks ago. We had gotten into an argument and it kind of led to just bigger conversations. And I feel like I watched a podcast and somebody had talked about doing this. And then I think I brought it up to you.
I don't know the origin.
Okay. I feel like
I remember I was talking, I thought I had suggested it because of what I heard from Rob Deerdeck a long time ago.
I don't think so.
All right. Anyway.
But anyway, so like we need to have a weekly check-in with each other because, again, life gets crazy, like you're working, like we run a business together, like, finances, are we being intimate? Are we connecting? How's our communicate? Like there's so many things that go on, and whether people have kids, like that's a whole nother level, right? So I feel like if making that effort to check in every week and really evaluate each category and section for the week of like, what could we have done better? How did you feel about this? Just really connecting and getting into these specific categories, like checking in with each other.
Well, it also came about too because, again, we've talked about it multiple times, but Kim hasn't worked a quote unquote full-time job in the hospital. She's been home working in TravseSexed full-time for 2 years, right? And so now that I literally would have a thought at work about what we could do for TravseSexed, I would have something going on in my own life that I couldn't handle, and I would text you and you would just like get it done. Mm-hmm. And like you would make sure the house was still running and like all the cleaning and the cooking and the grocery store and like all of that. And so this was a very big transition moving into you working a full-time PRN job. Mm-hmm. And so now with you not being home, you also can't keep doing all of those things that you used to do. I need to start picking it up a little bit and contributing in a way that now I'm working and business and home. And now we're both pulling the same load, right? Mm-hmm. And I think for me, if you're not communicating, you're going to miss something because it's very easy to just like stay in your routine because it's worked for so many years that you don't have it in your mind of like, no, I'm doing what I've been doing for a long time, but you realize like Kim's pulling a new job and Trav says and all of the house things, and I'm just like, no, I'm still doing the same thing. So we needed to like open a line of communication.
Yeah. And it's more than just like who's doing what. It's like all the buckets. So these are the categories that we came up with that are important to us and checking in with each other every single week. But I think, again, even if you're not in I think this is amazing if you are in a relationship, because again, this is the second time we've done it. And I feel just being aware too, because if you're not talking about things, it doesn't have to be 2-hour long conversation, but if you're not checking in and you're not aware of certain things, then it just keeps like building and building and building. More resentment starts building, or you just are pushing it under the rug and it's not really getting any sort of attention, right? So just by doing quick check-ins, it brings things to the awareness of like, oh, I'm going to work on this week, or this wasn't as good as I thought, whatever. And I think just being intentional and aware of the different things that are important to you. So even if you're not in a relationship, if you're solo, but just your own categories for yourself that are goals for yourself, things that you want to work on or be aware of, or check in with yourself. How did I do this week? I don't know. I think it's like so simple, but it's really powerful, and it gives you an idea of your progress and things that maybe you could be doing better at.
I mean, obviously married couples, solo, or even like in a relationship, I wonder what that, if you're like, week 1 of a relationship, okay, we're going to start checking in every week, if that would be too much for your relationship. Yeah. But like, obviously, it could be a good thing to start building even in an early relationship of like, where are we at, like relationship wise, right? Like you can utilize this in multiple ways. But I think as a, maybe a solid relationship, doesn't have to be married or even solo. Like this is something really, really cool.
Yeah. And make your own categories. But these are the ones that we felt were the most important for us. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have overall relationship health and connection. Okay. So just in general, relationship, how are we feeling? Are we feeling connected? Because those weeks that you're just like, I'm just not really feeling connected, and you don't really know why, or maybe you do know why, but you're just like, you're together and you're going through life, but you don't like feel that sense of connection with one another.
I look at it as like, were we more roommates or a couple?
Okay.
Right? Like connection. Like we had some sort of a connection. It was a deeper connection than just ships passing in the night and like, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. We coexist in one location.
Yeah. So that's one category. So then we rate each category 1 to 10. So 1 being, the worst, like the least connected.
0 to 10.
Yeah. And then 10 being, the best it could possibly be. But then also not just giving it a number, but like, okay, well, why? If you're giving it a 5, where is it that you felt not connected? Or was there something that had came up that week, or you're feeling whatever? Like it's an opportunity to just talk things out. And I also feel like if you're doing it every single week, it allows for things to come up that you can talk through that can be much smaller than if you don't talk about them and they keep building and building and building, and then someone ends up blowing up because it was never talked about.
I'll also add that I really like it too, just in these 2 weeks we've done it, because it really helps with perceptively what your partner sees, right? Because like, if you're like a 10, if I'm like, it was a 10, and then you're like, oh, 7. And you're just kind of like, whoa, like, what do you mean it was a 7? Like, I felt like things were great. And then you're like, well, I mean, it could have been improved in this way. And you're like, wow, like I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that happened to us last week, because one of the other categories, so we have relationship health and connection, but then we have sex and intimacy, which I feel like is separate, right? Like it's specifically about your sexual relationship, but also intimacy for me, what that means is like being intimate, like being close, like cuddling, touching, hugging in the morning. Like I'm very much physical. My love language is physical. Like I love a big hug in the morning and a kiss, and just that affection, like physical, that means a lot for me personally, right? And it's a completely different category. You don't have the same amount of emphasis on that, right? But that's another category. So last week it was like, okay, sex, intimacy, you said a 10, I said a 7, and you were like, what? And I'm like, well, I would have liked to have had sex more last week. Like the amount of times, right, would have been nice.
I thought
you
I thought we crushed it.
But I felt like we talked about it. You're like, okay, like I can see that, whatever. But you had also thought that we had sex more than we did.
Yeah, I made up one.
You made up, yeah. So then we were able to like talk through that, and or us just not talking about it at all, and me being like, oh, like I wish we were having sex more, and you're thinking it's a freaking 10. So this week we both gave it a 10 because we were able to like meet in the middle.
I'll also say too that doing this list so far for me, I've realized in being together 17 years that these weekly issues are like interest in the stock market. They don't like, it's not just like resetting, it compounds not yearly, but weekly, right? So if you were feeling like a 7 and you rated it a 7 and then next week it was the same, it would be like a 3. Because now it's compounded on each other where I'm like 10.
Yeah.
Right. And then now that you said that, like what was your rating this week for sex and intimacy? 10. Right.
I said I felt very satisfied
because
with
I was
frequency and all of it.
Because I was aware, right? It didn't compound. You didn't go to a 3 because now you're frustrated that this week sucked per se, but then it got the same and now it's worse, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, intimacy. I should have lowered it to a 9 because I would prefer more cuddling. Okay. But we just it's the couch's fault. Like our couch, there's no, like I love just like curling up and watching a show and like cuddling. But we have like this shitty couch that we got on Amazon for like $200 and it's so uncomfortable and we both cannot fit on the couch. So I feel like that's kind of out. So I do miss that.
I mean, we try our best, but I'm jammed up against the corner.
Yeah, and you're rolling your eyes the whole time.
Well, it's just very uncomfortable.
I know. Okay, next category is just communication. This is huge. So communication just in general. So, for us is like, was I listening? Was I actually understanding where you were coming from? Did I do something but then like take accountability for it? Or did I have to like defend myself against it? Were we getting worked up very quickly and getting aggressive versus just calmly being able to talk something out? So like that's what we're kind of rating communication on. Totally.
And communication is my love language, feeling understood.
Yeah.
And like, did we communicate properly? Like, do we understand each other? Like, is there a deep understanding of each other? Because when I feel understood and, there's this like affirmation of like, yeah, I got you. Like, I understand where you're at. That's my main love language. So that's why it was very important, which communication in general, I've always said, just because you speak English doesn't mean you're communicating. And so it's like figuring out, are we getting to the depths of like very clear?
Yeah.
I did hear, I looked at Instagram today and it was funny. Jay Shetty and his wife, they had this pun on, they said women speak an average of 30,000 words a day and men speak an average of 15,000 words a day. So Jay's behind her with his phone and she's talking into the camera. And then she says, on average, women, 30,000, men, 15,000. And Jay looks up and he goes, what'd you say, babe? And she was like, because we have to repeat ourselves.
Oh.
Because it's double, right?
That's so true.
You have to say everything twice.
Gosh, that is very true. And it's interesting because I think our dynamic is a little different versus maybe the typical male-female dynamic. Like the woman speaks so much and the man's like not really listening and he has to be told a million times to do whatever. I would say our dynamic's a little different because I think you talk just as much as I do, if not more. And you, for the most part, you are pretty good at like listening, but there are times that I will say things, actually a lot of times that I'll say things and then you'll say, I'm like, I literally just said that.
Vice versa.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, communication is a big one. And I think the communication is what spun this whole thing out as like, hey, like we kind of need to like work on communication because I feel like we're hitting walls with each other. And so let's really focus on this. And this week we did a 10. Do we really feel that way?
100%.
Yeah.
I felt like we were
think so.
clicking on all cylinders because it was a complete, somebody flipped our ship over, right? And we were like swimming in the water, open water, trying to figure out how to get our ship back in. And we had a lot of unknowns and we figured it out and we like crushed this week. We still made it to the gym every single day. We made it to work. No, I know.
About communication.
But I'm saying that's all communication. Like I didn't feel like I had to like I was running around like a crazy person trying to get us going. I felt like as a team, we both communicated our needs. Like, hey, can you take Mimi out while I jump in the shower? I'll be ready. I'll come back. I'll get her fed. You grab the lunches and breakfast and like get that ready. It was like so crystal clear of like what needed to be done to get things done. And then we like had enough time to like, we also sit and chatted about our work day and like, so communication was awesome.
Yeah.
Made a plan, hiked to 14er the next one. I mean,
but you're talking about communicating, like getting a plan together and like teamwork, right? Which is so important, but also communication is just how we're getting our points across if we come into conflict with one another, and going from 0 to 10, or the nonverbal cues, right? Of not listening or rolling our eyes or making faces or interrupting or not taking accountability for things or blaming or defensiveness. Like that was kind of where we were having bigger issues.
Correct. But I also believe that when you're openly communicating your needs immediately, it prevents those things from happening.
Yeah.
So I think we were in preventative mode and really communicating well, which led to no incidences happening.
Okay. So next category is finances. So again, this is us just checking in, like, how are we with our finances, with our budget? Like we're in a big season right now of trying to work and save and get out of some business debt. And so we have to have a lot of conversations about where we're at and what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big check-in every week.
Mm-hmm.
The next category for us was business, which, TravseSexed, what's going on with that? How did we feel this week? Were we productive? What did we get done? What are the wins? What are the things that didn't get done? So that's another big one. This week we rated it a 0 because we did nothing for TravseSexed at all. Because, again, I was working full time and, especially your first week, like there's so much more energy that goes into your first week because it's not as like autopilot-y or natural or whatever, because it's new. So you're learning. So it's like by the time I got home, it's like, yeah, you don't really, I worked 9 hours. Like I don't really have that much to give. Like I just want to come home. We have to make dinner. We have to pack lunches. We have to clean up the kitchen, take me, like all of that. By the time it's like freaking 8:30 at night, I'm like, holy shit. Like
it's almost 9.
It's crazy. Right. So that's going to be an adjustment of like figuring out how to continue to put in the time that TravseSexed needs and deserves. Because again, I was working basically full-time hours every single day. So it's an adjustment. So this week, TravseSexed got 0 because we didn't put any time into it.
I wanted to back up to finances too, because I think this was an interesting point of like, we realized that I do the finances. So I would give Kim like a weekly budget update, just kind of like, this is what we got going on. But we realized that when somebody is not seeing the numbers right offhand, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I was feeling like I would go in and do the budget and then like things would be ordered and this and that. And we were losing communication on that. So that week, like that now is a bigger conversation within like, this is how much money we have to spend. No, it's like in depth of like, this is what we got going on.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
This is our goal moving forward, our plans. Here's a month in advance. Like, let's, get it going.
Right. Okay. The next one's mental health. So just checking in, like, how has your mental health been for the week? How have you been feeling? All of that kind of stuff. Just checking in overall with that. Did you want to add anything to that? Because we still have quite a bit to get through.
Yeah, play.
But if you wanted to add something.
No, I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Next one's physical health.
Crushing.
Yeah. That's been a big thing for us. We've been doing this 56 hard 56 medium where we haven't been drinking and working out and eating clean, whatever. And so, yeah, physical health, I feel like we're crushing.
We did rate it a little bit smaller, and it was kind of funny because this morning we woke up and I felt like I kind of went I ate a lot more calories than I normally would, and I kind of went on
This weekend.
Yeah, quote unquote a bender. But like, it's just funny. I told Kim this morning, it was kind of something that I was grateful for. It was just like, my idea was a bender was Kim and I polished off an entire bag of cotton candy grapes. Not like cotton candy, and like the cotton candy flavored grapes.
God, I love those.
And we freeze them, and they're like a little treat, but we ate a whole bag. And I was like, wow, that's what I consider a bender, you know?
Well, we also, after our hike, went and got a huge piece of sourdough jalapeno cheddar bread, which was hands down one of the best things I've ever had. But I haven't been eating a lot of carbs in general, so that was huge.
But after that 14er, you need a carb insertion.
100%. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I'm just saying and then we had pizza that night. We make our protein pizza.
We didn't order a pizza and get garlic knots. And
right.
You know
so collectively, we did really well compared to what we used to do.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt it like heavier. Like I'm just kind of like, ugh, you know? So,
yeah, we usually do our weigh-ins on Sunday, and I did not even come close to stepping on that scale.
No, we're changing it till Friday.
Yeah, Fridays.
Post week. So anyways, but physical health, I feel like we're crushing the game there. Feeling really good. We only have 13 days, I think, left of our 56 medium.
Well, until we go to Peru.
That's what I mean, but that's when it ended. So
it's not going to end for me, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was the
the cutoff. We achieved it. Yes, correct.
And then we have next category is grateful for. So kind of just each going through a couple of things that we're really grateful for the week. And talking those things out, I think is really powerful. I mean, that's something that I do every morning as I say what I'm grateful for. I think that's really, really powerful.
Well,
especially if you're going into work or you're not satisfied in certain areas, like instead of focusing on that, like really focus on what you are grateful for and putting energy into it.
And I will say that at times, this list can get a little heavy, right? Because you're talking about relationship and finance and all these things that are real within your relationship or within yourself, right? And they can bring up a lot of things that make you maybe feel a little poopier. Like, if I thought we were a 10 in our relationship and Kim said a 2, like that's a heavy conversation that you have to have. And I think having what we're grateful for at the end for the week really ends it with like, okay, like I might have felt crappy about our relationship in a way that we can improve, but like now I'm grateful for this and this and this. So it shines a nice light at the end, something positive that you can kind of like, okay, come back to that. Right.
100%. And then the next one's level of joy for the week, which again, just what was your level of joy? Like, did you feel amazing all week or just where were you at this week? It just opens up for a conversation. Next is adventure-y. That's big for us because we tend, like for us being in Colorado, we want to explore as much as we possibly can and go hiking and go camping and go explore this mountain town and like do all these cool things. There's so much on the list that we want to do, but then balancing that with weekends being the time that we have to work on TravseSexed, which is huge, especially, we have so many trips to plan for next year. There's so much going on. We have to utilize our time for that. And then
also maintenance.
Also work call, I work weekend. So really not letting ourselves get into the place that we can tend to get into where we're like, nope, we're locking ourselves inside. We're just going to work on all the TravseSexed things because that's important, and not falling into that and having a better balance of like we did this weekend. It was like Friday, we went out and did something. Yesterday, we just had a total chill day. Today's more of a work day. And so finding a better balance, but like rating, like, are we missing some adventure-y stuff, or do we feel satisfied, or like where are we at? Do we, you know what I mean?
Well,
checking in with that.
We also connect even deeper when you and I are out exploring, hiking and going to a new town, and we have great conversations, and that's like our sense of like fun and connection.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's easy to get into like the day-to-day life. Like, oh, did we feel connected while we were doing our normal day life? Like, yeah, okay, cool. But like, we find connection and adventure.
100%.
Right?
Just going and exploring something new together is fun. So prioritizing that is very important to us in this season.
Versus, like you said, me taking call almost every other weekend, you now working weekends. Like, we don't have every weekend to go explore. And so we do run a business and we do work in the hospital. And those are choices that we have made.
Yeah.
And so those have to stay afloat
Yeah.
on top of everything. So, we know that sometimes you have to make choices that are maybe not what you want to do, to the betterment of what we chose to do.
Well, right. I mean, it's like Friday, we were talking about creating these travel kits of basically our itineraries and all of our things for our TravseSexed trips, but creating them into these kits that people could purchase and then use it to do their own trip versus coming on a group trip. And I spent, days and days and days creating it. It took way more time than I thought. It was a lot of work, but I wanted to make sure there was so much good value in it. And it's amazing. But Aaron has to go over it. We really need to make sure it has everything we need. Like, there's a lot that has to go into the next phase. And then we have to send it over to Alex, who is our VA, who's amazing, who brings all of this stuff to life. Like, we created, she brings it to life, right? It's amazing. Like, she's amazing. But we could have done that Friday and had the ball rolling to get this Bali kit out and see how well it does. And if people are interested in this, which we've gotten a lot of feedback that people are, but until you actually do it, whatever, lots of phases. But we're no, I don't know. I want to go out. I want to go do this 14er. I want to have this time with you. I want to connect with you. That's more important. It doesn't matter, right? The Bali kit will be done another time when it gets done, because things just sometimes have to take a backseat, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Totally.
Okay. And the last little section here is just ending it with things to bring up or importance of the week. So is there anything that you want to bring up, anything you want to talk about that needs to be addressed? What are going into next week? How can we set ourselves up for success? What's important to know for next week? What's the schedule, the vibe? We both like this, but having just a very clear kind of path, setting ourselves up going into the following week. Because when you're set up and you've had a conversation about it, you're going to have less, scrambling throughout
surprises.
The week. Yeah. It's okay, we got a good system going into next week. Let's prepare ourselves for it.
And this one gets me excited because I always like to foresee situations in the future and maybe try to peg out, this could be an issue. Let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
So in that way, we've already run through it. And we know that if it goes in the good direction, fine, we're good. If it goes in a bad direction, we've already talked about it.
Yeah. 100%. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And I've really enjoyed the time. This morning, we sat outside, we had coffee, breakfast, whatever, and just went through it together. And I think it's just a great way to connect every single week.
And we actually we were documenting it, right? Every week we write down what our numbers are. I think it's really cool to go back to. It's in a notebook that we can always return to, and we always have it. And I think we can, look back on it in the future and be wow, look at this. We were in this heavy time of our lives and we were rating our relationship a 10. It's just something to look back on and be we're not having as crazy of a life right now, but our relationship is slipping. So what's going on, right? When we were at our craziest moment, we were a 10. So how can we adjust? And we have proof in the pudding with our little notebooks.
Yeah. I love that.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's such a great exercise for anybody, whatever your goals are, categories are for yourself. I think it's really just a fun, insightful exercise. Doesn't take too long, but it brings a lot of insight into the week and how you're performing.
Totally.
Okay. Shall we pull a card and wrap this shit up?
Let's do it.
I'm hungry.
Starving.
Where are the cards?
I gave them to you. Maybe under your...
Oh, here we go. Okay. So we are pulling... That's how we're ending the show. We've been doing a lot of relationship stuff. And I've been enjoying it. You?
I mean, it's my favorite thing.
Oh, okay. You looked at me So we're pulling from our TravseSexed After Dark, our fun deck that we made that's all about relationships and sex and things of that nature. But it's like actually really not sex at all.
No,
some of it is. But
it just these cards, we take them on our TravseSexed trips. They lead to deeper conversations. Our New Zealand group was just like, can we pull like the After Dark cards? Like everybody wanted. We went through them so many times. It was so much fun. But
here you go.
they cause they lead to some really good
conversation. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shuffle.
I just did.
I'm gonna give it a real shuffle.
Okay.
All right.
Show off.
I'm just gonna pull from like whatever. Ready? And there's 2 questions on every card. Ooh. Did we already have this?
What?
Okay, the first question is, can a relationship survive without a strong sexual connection?
Oh, no, I don't think we have, but is that your question that you're choosing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't, because here's the thing. I think relationships with intimacy, sex, there's always ebb and flows, right? Like sometimes it's like clicking off. Like we said this week was a 10, yay. But like next week might be a 3. Like life happens, things happen, right? People are tired. Like there's a lot going on. So I think there's always an ebb and flow, right? With that, especially when you're with somebody for a very long time. It just is part of it. But my personal opinion is that there is not like a strong sexual connection or not even desire, but just that making that a priority in your relationship, then I think it's a really big, important piece of a relationship. Because without that, like without having sex, without kissing, without intimacy, cuddling, hugging, like your roommates, your friends living with each other, like your roommates, it's the intimacy and the physical nature that make you in a romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. Right? Or you're just living with a friend. And I think, especially in the beginning of a relationship, physical attraction and sexual attraction is a part of it because there's so much more, right? Like you have to, like, again, with you, your personality was everything to me. The way you made me feel, the way I felt so comfortable with you, the fun we had, the talks we had, the depth of our talks. But I was also sexually attracted to you. And I thought that you were hot. And I thought like, you were sexy and like, I wanted to like kiss you. And like, if you don't have that, then it's like, you're my friend.
I agree. I mean, I agree 100%. And I think we are sexual beings by nature, right? And so if you're not taking that as a priority, your needs will be met elsewhere and the relationship will fizzle. And like you said, you're just roommates. Like the sexual connection is what makes you a couple, a part of it, right? And I think I am a firm believer that there's more to a relationship than sex. I think that if you have a strong sexual connection and nothing else, it's not going to work either.
Agree,
right?
Yeah.
So like the goal is to, and typically, just speaking, and we've worked on this, but I falter on I would put more into the relationship on the non-physical side than I do the physical side, right? Because I do find that just as important, and I falter on the opposite, where you falter on the sexual side. You're more like, more sex, more intimacy, more cuddling, more this, and like that really has an impact in how you feel in the overall relationship, versus for me, like you coming home and having an hour before you had to come back and pick me up, and the amount of things that you did to set you and I up for the rest of the week was such an act of love for me that it just felt like, wow, you had every right on your second day to sit on the couch and just kind of take a moment or go for a walk or do something for you. But you came home, you cleaned the house, you put a load of laundry in, you made 4 days worth of breakfasts for both of us. Mm-hmm. You got our lunches packed for the next day and got dinner started. Mm-hmm. Like, that was such a labor of love for me that I was just like, dude, that was like having an orgasm right there.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, holy crap, dude, I don't have to do this now when we come home. Like, that's really freaking cool. Like, it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, no. And I think that it comes back to the love languages, right? Like we read that book together and I think that was really eye-opening is like, people are going to put more value in physical connection for the people that's their love language, right? So for me, my love language is physical connection and quality time. And so I'm going to put more value on that where, can you not do that because you're distracting me?
Sure.
That when we're not physically connecting, I feel a disconnect, right, from you, where, your love language is being understood, acts of service, right? Like we have different love languages. And so you feel loved in a different way. So there's also the communication with that of you have a partner, because there's in relationships, usually there's always people who have different sex drives as well, right? And so you have to communicate on that like we do, right? Like my sex drive's higher than yours. And we can talk about that like another time, but like we have to kind of find that balance where we both feel taken care of and like our needs are being met and what that looks like. But I think, and that you coming up in the morning and giving me a big hug and a kiss, like, hey, good morning. How did you sleep?
Tucking you in at night.
That means so much to me, where for you, like it doesn't. Like you're not like, oh my God, I feel so loved and connected. Like you just don't. So, but you do that for me because you know how much that means for me. But I think going back to just the question in general, though, that if there's no sexual desire at all, meaning you're not really attracted, this is my take on it, right? Like you're not there, you don't have that attraction to your partner or that like physical affection with them. Can the relationship work? Was that what the question was?
Strong sexual desire. Like a strong, like...
A strong sexual desire.
Yeah. So, will the relationship work?
And I think that it wouldn't, because sex is an important piece of the puzzle for me.
Well, and again, this is why I love these cards, because it's everybody's perception, because we also know people that, we might not know their intimate sex life, what they have, but we know that couples can coexist. And there's that whole thing of like, I love him, but do you really like him? Do you really, yes, or, there's like all these different things that we talk about. And I think each couple has their own dynamic. But I think from our personal point of view, a thriving relationship needs to be firing on all cylinders when it comes to sex drive and sexual connection.
Yeah. And I think that can look differently for lots of different couples. Like, again, like it's not like you have sex X amount of times a week and that's how you feel connected. Like that looks differently for so many people, right? Like there's not like a certain amount of times or this or that. It depends on the couple and what their individual needs are that they're getting met. Right. But yeah, I think maybe if two people, their love language, say, wasn't physical at all. Okay. So you had two people in a relationship. Nobody really needed that physical part. Would there, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's not intimate. It's not romantic. Like maybe some people are okay having sex once in a blue moon or something, and they feel very connected and intimate in other ways. Cause I agree. Like it's not just about sex. You have to there's deep intimacy in our relationship that come from our connection, our talks, our just our life, our partnership together that have nothing to do with sex. But sex has to be a part of it for me in order for me to feel connected to you romantically.
Well, and that's what, even for somebody that their love language is not physical touch, not in the number one or number two, right? But it's still a very big part. And it is something that I have experienced in past relationships where it wasn't a thing. And I can tell you completely fizzled. Like it got to a point of just like, we just coexist, right? Like what makes us an actual couple? Like, I don't even care, I kind of do my thing, you do your thing. And like, we don't really come together and there's not a lot of like spark, right? And I think if there's spark in your relationship, you naturally are going to be sexually connected to each other, right? And when the spark dies, they always have all those things of like, spice it up and do that. Mm-hmm. No, like you can't, I don't know, you polish a turd, it's still a turd, right? It's kind of one of those things. I've always felt that way. Like you got to get to the bottom and have the real conversation of why there's no spark.
Well, yeah. And having to put work into it. Yeah. It's not that it's just easy. I think you have to put work or conversation or thought into it.
Right.
but it is important.
Yes.
It is very important.
I agree.
So.
Well done.
Did that answer the question?
I mean, you know, these are shooting from the hip, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, okay. Should we
We'll send it.
leave it there?
Yeah, leave it there.
Okay.
All right. Well, we will be back next week with another topic.
Another topic.
Who knows? Probably relationship.
Yeah, and let us know too. Like, DM us on Instagram. I love when you guys reach out and they're like, I listened to this episode and blah, blah, blah. I took this away, or I thought like this. Like, we love hearing from you guys. And are you enjoying the relationship stuff? Is there a topic that you would love to hear about? Like, just, this is a two-way conversation. And we just like love connecting with you every single week. So let us know at Instagram at Kim and Aaron G, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope that you really, really enjoyed it.
And if you did love this episode, can you please do us a huge favor and just share this with one of your friends? Like, just somebody that you think will get value from this episode. It would mean so much to us.
Yeah, like do it now. Like while you're inspired, go now.
Like right
Do
this
it.
second.
Yeah,
go. Or just like share it on your Instagram story and tag us at Kim and Aaron G so that we can see it and thank you personally for helping us share this message, share this episode, and blow this baby up.
Yeah, help spread the obsession.
Ooh.
You can do that.
Let's get obsessed.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful to be on this journey with you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.